The images that we see here are all images of Évangéline. The original was painted in 1853 by a Scottish artist named Thomas Faed, who painted Évangéline in reaction to the poem Évangéline by Henry Longfellow. And Évangéline was a phenomenon in the 19th century, very important in the Acadian Renaissance of the late 19th century, and was popular for the tourist industry in Nova Scotia, and remained popular up until like the mid-20th century. In the States, people would read it at school. So Évangéline is a phenomenon and of pop culture stature. And so Faed painted one version that was eventually copied by his brother James Faed. A reproduction of that reproduction is in this show. And from that initial reproduction, hundreds, if not thousands, were made. I am interested in the image because I am myself an Acadian. This is considered to be like a representation or the representation of the deportation, or it's not really that scene in the story, but a lot of people associate it with that. And I'm interested in deconstructing this idea because a lot of people think that that's what Acadians are or have that sort of reference. And it's not. It's a completely fabricated image. The landscape isn't the Maritimes. The sitter isn't Acadian at all. The clothing is not period accurate. So all these little details interest me. And so this project seeks to archive as many versions as possible, but also trace the institutions that own versions. The Art Gallery of Nova Scotia loaned us two works. Musée d'Art Acadien of l'Université de Moncton loaned us two works as well. So there's like a good dialogue between my versions, which are just digital prints, and original hand-colored lithographs. I feel that Acadianhood or Acadianity, like the quality of being Acadian, is something that is constructed, that we perform, that we learn from a very young age. And it comes with all these cliches, and Évangéline is like a very, very heavy one that has lost a lot of its meaning, but at a certain point was very important. And then around like the 60s and 70s, the baby boomers really desacralized the image, made fun of it, parodied it. And now I feel like some artists are more like in an analytical sort of stance. So my interest was really knowing about it, hearing about it, seeing other people working with it, and then finding out how many versions there were. From that initial reproduction, hundreds, if not thousands, were made. This project is trying to assemble as many variations as possible. I'm looking at color variations specifically because the black and white ones really don't differ that much. They differ in quality, but what I like to see is how the colors really change. This is an image that has been accompanied by various technical advances in printing. Starts off really just black on white litho with hand coloring, and then becomes color process litho, like photo, like for color process, CMYK, very early versions of that, photochromatic lithography, and eventually becomes just like offset. So the image just kind of oscillates between all these different technologies and transforms and changes. Like the quality of the image becomes very, very pronounced because you see all the little textures, and if there's halftone dots, they really become apparent. But you can really see in these images sort of moments in time as images are being more and more mass produced. I'm also like intrinsically a collector. I think my art practice is just like an excuse for me to find things and collect them. But Évangéline, you type it in eBay and you'll get like thousands of results, mostly because of that tourist industry in Nova Scotia. There's a million different things that you can buy. China plates, you can get postcards, you can get medallions, spoons, statuettes. So this image was a recurring one in those searches, and so I started just buying them. Also finding out that a lot of galleries had versions drew me to that, and I'm interested in making that distinction between art and museology more and more porous and ambiguous. As a transdisciplinary artist, the idea of being an archivist and an artist at the same time really interests me. So this sort of scientific approach to me was interesting because what I want to really show is that it is a constructed thing. It's a fiction, and everything is fictitious in a way, so it doesn't really matter what is the use of Évangéline for an Acadian like me today. I don't really know what is useful about it, except if I try to work with what has been left behind and make new meanings out of it.